You buy a ticket, you scratch it, or you watch the numbers fall one by one on television. And then it happens. You win millions of dollars overnight. No work required. It sounds like the end of every problem you've ever had. But that's not how it works. Most lottery winners are broke again within a few years. Some end up worse off than before they won. This isn't a rumor. It's one of the most well-documented patterns in behavioral finance. Researchers have followed winners for decades, and the numbers are almost identical every time. The money disappears. The relationships fracture. The person underneath it all stays exactly the same. Why would sudden wealth destroy someone instead of saving them? Here's the part nobody wants to hear. Money doesn't fix what's broken. It amplifies it. If you were disciplined before, you tend to stay disciplined. If you were impulsive, reckless, or anxious about money before, those patterns don't vanish because your bank account changed. They just get louder. A small bad habit with $10,000 becomes a catastrophic one with $10 million.
Think about how most people learn to handle money. Slowly, painfully, through years of paychecks, bills, mistakes, and recoveries. That process isn't just about accumulating funds. It's about building a nervous system that can handle money without panicking or spiraling. Lottery winners skip that entire process. They go from managing a few $100s a week to managing a fortune with none of the internal architecture required to hold it. It's like handing someone the keys to a jet after they've only ever driven a bicycle. There's a psychological concept called the hedonic treadmill. It describes how humans adapt to new circumstances, good or bad, faster than we expect. A person who wins the lottery feels an intense spike of joy, but that spike doesn't last. Within months, sometimes weeks, their baseline happiness returns to roughly where it was before. The house feels normal. The car feels normal. The problems that existed before the win, the marriage that was struggling, the self-worth that was shaky, the family tension that never got resolved, all of it comes back into focus. Except now there's a pile of money sitting there, waiting to be misused as a distraction.
And it does get misused, not because winners are foolish, but because sudden money creates a specific kind of psychological pressure. Suddenly, friends reappear. Family members you haven't spoken to in years start calling. Everyone has a story, a need, a business idea, a reason you should help them out. Saying no to people you love while holding more money than you've ever seen is one of the hardest emotional tasks a person can face. Most winners aren't prepared for it, so they say yes, again and again, until the fortune is gone. Ever wonder why so many winners describe the experience as more stressful than their old life? It's because wealth without preparation isn't freedom. It's exposure. You become a target. Financial predators, scam artists, and so-called investment opportunities start circling almost immediately. Winners with no experience evaluating risk are far more likely to hand large sums to people who sound confident rather than people who are competent. The very naivety that made the win feel like magic is the same naivety that makes the money easy to take. There's also an identity problem most people never consider. Your sense of self is built slowly, tied to your work, your role in your family, your daily routines, your sense of contribution. When millions of dollars land in your lap overnight, all of that structure can collapse at once. Winners often quit their jobs immediately. That sounds like the dream. But work isn't just a paycheck. It's a source of purpose, social connection, and daily structure. Remove all three at once, and many winners report a strange, hollow depression, even while sitting on more money than they ever imagined. Consider the story that gets repeated in almost every study on this topic. A winner buys the house, then the second house, then cars for the whole family, then loans to friends that are never repaid, then a business venture they know nothing about because it felt exciting and their new money made them feel invincible. None of these decisions look irrational in isolation. Buying a home isn't reckless. Helping family isn't reckless. But strung together, without a plan, without boundaries, and without financial literacy, they compound into disaster. Within 5 years, the fortune is a memory, and the debt from an inflated lifestyle remains.
Is the money itself the problem? Not exactly. The real issue is a mismatch between the pace of the win and the pace of human change. Wealth builders who accumulate money slowly are forced to develop matching skills along the way. They learn to negotiate. They learn to manage risk. They learn to say no to costly impulses because they've had to correct mistakes when the stakes were still small. Lottery winners get the outcome of decades of financial growth compressed into a single afternoon, with none of the corresponding skill development. It's the equivalent of graduating from medical school without ever attending a single class. There's a quieter tragedy buried in all of this too. Many winners describe their relationships changing in ways they never expected. Friends start acting strange around them, either overly friendly or resentful. Family dynamics shift, sometimes permanently, once money enters the picture. Some winners report feeling more isolated after winning than before, unsure who actually cares about them versus who's simply drawn to the fortune. That kind of uncertainty erodes trust, and trust, once damaged, doesn't repair itself just because you're rich.
So, does that mean sudden wealth is always destructive? Not necessarily. The winners who do keep their fortunes share a specific pattern, and it has nothing to do with intelligence or luck. They slow down. Financial advisors who specialize in sudden wealth almost universally recommend the same first step. Do nothing for 6 months. No big purchases, no quitting your job immediately, no handing out loans to family. Just sit with the money. Let the initial emotional high fade and make decisions from a calmer state of mind rather than a euphoric one. The winners who follow this advice tend to preserve their wealth. The ones who act on impulse in the first few weeks are the ones who show up in the cautionary headlines years later. Another pattern among the winners who succeed is that they build a team before they build a new lifestyle. A trustworthy financial advisor, an accountant, sometimes a therapist to help process the identity shift that comes with sudden wealth. This isn't about being paranoid. It's about recognizing that managing a fortune is a skill, just like managing a business or a household. And skills require support systems, especially when you're building them from zero under enormous pressure.
There's something almost paradoxical at the center of all this. We tend to believe that our problems are caused by a lack of resources. If only I had more money, we tell ourselves, everything would be fine. But lottery winners are living proof that resources alone solve almost nothing. What determines whether wealth helps or harms a person isn't the size of the fortune. It's the framework the person already has for handling stress, relationships, identity, and decision-making. Money simply reveals that framework at a larger scale, for better or worse. This is why financial literacy matters far more than financial luck. A person who understands budgeting, risk, delayed gratification, and boundary setting can take a modest income and build lasting stability. A person without those skills can take an enormous windfall and turn it to dust within years. The number in your bank account was never the real variable. Your relationship with money was always the real variable, and it was there long before any ticket was ever purchased.
So the next time you imagine what your life would look like if you won the lottery tomorrow, pause for a moment. Would you change everything overnight? Would you say yes to everyone who asked? Would you know how to hold something that large without letting it slip through your hands? The uncomfortable truth is that most people wouldn't. Not because they're weak or foolish, but because nobody teaches us how to handle sudden wealth. We're taught to want it. We're never taught to survive it. Maybe the real lesson isn't about lottery winners at all. Maybe it's about all of us. The skills that would let you keep a fortune, patience, boundaries, self-awareness, and a steady sense of identity are the exact same skills that build a stable life without ever needing to win anything. The ticket was never the answer. It never even flooded the room with light. The real transformation was always the quiet work you either build for yourself or never build at all.